Srimad Bhagavad Gita, English, Chapter 2, verses 55, 56, 57, 58, regarding salvation. Lord Krishna says, enlightened person always is in salvation. Enlightened person always in salvation. When someone is completely free from all desires of the mind, when someone is completely free from all desires of the mind and is satisfied within himself by the joy of Supreme Being, by the joy of Supreme Being soul, he is called an enlightened person. A person whose mind is unperturbed by sorrow, a person whose mind is unperturbed by sorrow, who does not crave pleasure, who does not crave for pleasure, and who is completely free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called an enlightened sage of steady intellectual. The mind and intellect of a person become steady who is not attached to anything. The mind and intellect of a person become steady who is not attached to anything. One who is neither elated by getting desired results nor perturbed by undesired results. When one can completely withdraw the senses from the sense objects, as a tortoise withdraws its limbs into the shell for protection from calamity, then the intellect of such a person is considered steady. Contented person always in salvation. We are never self-satisfied. We are always dissatisfied with ourselves. Our whole story, our whole life depends on dissatisfaction. If someone leaves us alone, we do not feel good because we have to live alone. We don't like to be alone. We require someone to give us company. We feel good with others. Who is not happy with himself, can he make happy to others? Who is not happy with himself, how can he make happy to others? Who is not eligible to give happiness to himself, how can he be eligible to give happiness to others? We are not self-satisfied. We are not self-satisfied. 1 minute aloofness, loneliness become heavy to us. We get bored with ourselves. We never bore with others. We see TV, we read newspapers, we go to see picture or to a friend or somewhere else. Man doesn't want to live with himself. It looks very difficult to live with himself. It looks very difficult to live with himself. Therefore, the meditation has been started by the saints so that the people could live alone. They taught the method of meditation. Lord Krishna gives first indication, contented. Whatever Arjun has asked Lord Krishna, reply is very deep and balanced, contented. Until and unless we feel we can get pleasure somewhere else, means we are not satisfied with ourselves. Until and unless we feel we can get pleasure somewhere else, means we are not satisfied with ourselves. It is crystal clear. It is crystal clear. Our attention is always running to others. There is no happiness in others. As soon as it will be clear, heart will stay and enjoy within. As soon as it will be cleared, heart will soon enjoy within. Lord Krishna says, sage of settled wisdom, enlightened person. Lord Krishna said, when one is completely free from all desires, when one is completely free from all desires of the mind and is satisfied within by the joy of Supreme Being, he is called an enlightened person. When a man puts away all his desires, he is called stable in intelligence. He whose mind is untroubled in pain and pleasure, he whose passions and fears has disappeared, he is called a sage of settled wisdom. Intelligence, he is called of settled intelligence. It is self mastery, where conquest of desire and passion is insisted on. It is self mastery where conquer conquerness of desire and passion is insisted on. He who is without affection, he does not rejoice under good or bad, his intelligence is firmly settled. Flowers bloom or fade, there is no need to praise or condemn. We must accept whatever comes without excitement, without pain. Look, Krishna said, Arjun, when one thoroughly renounces all desires is, and is satisfied within his soul, he is called a sage of settled wisdom. Where there is pleasure, there is pain. No one desires pain. Pain always comes behind pleasure, which is only way to come for him. Pain and grief come behind the pleasure and happiness. There are no two. They are not two. Pain and pleasure are the two faces of the same coin. Therefore, Lord Krishna says, who is neutral in happiness and unhappiness, and who has no desire for happiness, and who has no anger and fear within himself, he is settled. He is a person of settled wisdom. Krishna is not saying to leave the anger and fear. Krishna is not saying to leave the anger and fear. He is saying, why do not have any anger? He is saying, who do not have anger and fear within himself, he is stable in his wisdom. There is a need to understand the differences. Person who has no anger and fear within, and to leave the anger and to fear, there is a difference. Don't understand by that you can stop anger and fear by suppressing it. It is not so easy. In place of trying to restraining anger, you try to raise it high. You try to instigate it and look at him, realize at him. When someone abuses you, you see within how anger is rising within. When someone abuses you, you should thank him. You should say him, it is very kind of you that you have given me chance to check my anger, how it is rising. Such person is stable in his wisdom. Such person is stable in his wisdom. When one can completely withdraw the sense from the sense objects as a tortoise withdraws its limbs into the shell for protection from calamity, then the intellectual of such a person is considered steady. To understand the Lord Krishna, it is necessary to understand the difference. Suppression of senses, to be free from senses, control the senses and live unattached. Controlling the senses means living unattached with the senses. Otherwise, man will start to ruin his eyes and ears and cut his tongue. You may think it cannot happen, but you are wrong. People had been there in this world that had pierced burning iron rods into their eyes. Obstinate and stubborn saints had cut their penis. Obstinate and stubborn saints had cut their penis. Shrinking the senses does not mean to ruin them, or shatters the ears or eyes, or to cut the tongue of penis. If you think no one does so, then you are wrong. People had done this in the past. Such saints has happened to be in this world that had ruined their eyes and cut their penis. Lord Krishna says, one who is not happy in happiness and painful in pain, one who is not looking for happiness and pleasure, he will not be in painful in pain and happy in happiness. One who desires happiness will be pain. One who is not happy in happiness and not painful in pain. One who is not looking for happiness and pleasure, he will not be painful in pain and happiness in happy in happiness. One who desires happiness will be in pain. Where there is desire to get something, there will be pain. Where there is desire to get something, there will be pain. See the two lines, which has taken a lot of times to be written. देखा है हर चाह बनी आखिर में दुख का कारण. देखा है हर चाह बनी. I have realized every desire have become the reason of the pain. देखा है हर चाह बनी आखिर में दुख का कारण. Even though you desire salvation, you have not left the desire. Even though you desire salvation, you have not left the desire. देखा है हर चाह बनी आखिर में दुख का कारण. फिर भी चाहे मोक्ष अधर चाहना आखिर ना छोड़ा. If you don't desire happiness, pain will vanish automatically. If you don't desire happiness, pain will finish automatically. No one desires pain, pain just comes. All desires happiness, pain has only way to come from behind pleasure and happiness. He has no other way to come. He always enters from the back door. Pain is always enter from the back door. Further he says, who does not possess, who does not possess fear and anger within. Krishna is not saying to leave the anger or fear. He is saying who does not have, he is settled and awaken one. Further he says, who does not possess fear and anger within himself. Krishna is not saying to leave anger and fear. He is saying who does not have it. He is settled and awakened. Krishna says subjects and enjoyments you can leave, but attachments will not leave you. Krishna says subject and enjoyment you can leave, but attachments will not leave you. An enlightened person has set attachment. Enlightened person leaves attachment along with subject and enjoyments. Person who is not enjoying the subjects and its enjoyment, subjects may go away. Attachments remains, and these attachments never leaves you. These attachments never leaves you. Salvation is such a state of mind where there is no interest in subjects. Liberation is distaste for the objects of the senses. Liberation is distaste for the objects of the senses. Bondage is love of senses. This is knowledge. Now do as you wish. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.